Welcome back, everyone. The child welfare system here in Texas is undergoing some major changes as more communities transition to what's known as community-based care. But depending on where a child lives here in the state, the services available can look very different.
At the same time, many children in foster care are being placed outside their home counties, creating new challenges for staying connected, of course, to school, family, and support systems. Joining us today is Texas CASA CEO Vicki Spriggs and CASA Public Policy Specialist and volunteer Adi Tinkopa. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, of course. Let's talk a little bit about the changes and just how critical it is for volunteers right now.
Oh, let me start with, there are 10,000 children in the state who need a CASA volunteer. The CASA volunteers, we had a little bit more than 7,000 serving about 17,000 children last year. But again, there's still 10,000 children who need a CASA volunteer. The need is great. The people who come forward to be a CASA volunteer, regular people from the community who have the passion and are willing to make that commitment to helping a child during their term, if you will, through the child welfare system.
Right.
And Vicki, just to stick with you for a moment too, I mean, can you talk to us about those changes that the child welfare system is going through? What is that community-based care that we referenced a moment ago?
Sure. Starting in 2017, the state decided to privatize, if you will, or outsource the casework role of Child Protective Services. So historically, the caseworkers were state employees. Now they are outsourced to what's called community-based service providers. We'll just call them that for the term. And these entities, Child Protective Services divided the state into 16 regions. Each region will have their own provider who's going to bid for that contract and get that contract. So basically, they've privatized casework services.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Sure.
I want to talk a little bit more about the volunteers and your experience with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can say with full confidence that being a CASA volunteer has been one of the most fulfilling experiences in my life. And you're not just an additional support for a child, you really are a critical lifeline and a main party on that case, representing and advocating the best interests of that child throughout the entirety of the case. So many things can change during a case and shift. Roles often shift just due to high turnover and high caseloads, and a CASA volunteer remains that constant in a child's life. We get to know everything about them, their day-to-day needs, their daily schedule, and we reach out and speak with everyone in that child's life, including their foster parents, their family members, their teachers, and we understand what is most important to them and what they need to be successful and thrive ultimately. And so another really cool thing about being a volunteer is we don't only work closely with the child, we work really closely with the parents too and the family, because when you're advocating for a child's best interests, you're also making sure that the family has what they need to be able to provide a safe and supportive home for that child, especially when the goal is family unification.
Yeah, and to make sure that that's all included with
exactly.
this. Adi, you also were mentioning to us before we came on camera, we talked about how there are so many children in the foster care system who get placed in a home that's outside of where they may have grown up, or is there really home base? Is that your experience as well as you've been connecting with kids as a volunteer? Have you had to travel a lot because of that?
Yeah, in my experience as a volunteer, I do have to travel a lot. A lot of our volunteers travel well beyond 100 miles from the capital, and that's been my experience as well. The great thing about having a CASA volunteer representing a kid and advocating for them during their time on a case is that we are a safe and stable part of their lives. And even when so much of their sense of normalcy has shifted and they're no longer in their home communities, they're no longer in their neighborhoods, they're going to new schools, everything in their life has shifted at once. We remain that constant and make sure that their needs still remain at the center of every decision being made. And for example, we communicate closely to make sure that even big things like educational accommodations they get at school are not missed, all the way down to what is their favorite toy that they like to sleep with at night. So even if they're shifting to a new community, we try to help maintain that sense of normalcy and as much as we can.
You asked about the travel. The goal of the privatization of casework services was to keep children in their home community. That's why they called it community-based care.
That's
but
a fair
the state
point
is
to point out,
under-resourced. We don't have enough foster homes. And so when there are placements available, a child might be removed from Travis County and end up in Arkansas,
Wow.
or end up in not El Paso, they don't have placement. So Houston. So you have that issue. And that's why, again, CASA is so important, because the CASA volunteer is the one that's maintaining that contact with the child, when the caseworker, because of the distance, doesn't have to be the one to see the child. They have, at a certain point, they can assign that to a visiting caseworker who will then go visit the child. So there's somebody else. Or if the caseworker turns over while the child is placed so far away from home, then it's somebody else. But the CASA volunteer is that one constant. They make a critical difference in the lives of these children. And just as a point of information, 48% of the children are 5 and under. So we're talking littles here.
Yeah, very young.
Yeah, very young. And so that level of consistency is critical.
Can you just talk a little bit more about that, about the difference it makes, even when you're so young, knowing that there is a constant in your life?
Absolutely. And I focused on the littles, but for the older kids as well.
Sure.
It's important because you've already been traumatized by whatever was happening at home that caused the removal. Then you get removed, so now that compounds the trauma. Now you're in this new environment, which compounds the compounded trauma. And then if you're one of those 7 who's placed, 7 of 10 who's placed out of county, then you've compounded the compounded trauma. And now you've got new caseworkers. You've got a caseworker that may change a number of times while you're in care. You're not seeing your family on a regular basis more often than not. And so that CASA volunteer is the one person who says to you, as a child or as an older young person, you're important. We will not forget you. We will make sure you're taken care of. We will be your voice in that room where you're not in that room. We'll be in that room for you, telling people what you need. And I think it's important to point out that CASA, court-appointed special advocates, these are volunteers appointed by the court. So they're gathering all this information to give it to the judge so that that person, that judge, can make the best decisions. They use that CASA information along with the caseworker information. And again, the caseworker might not have all the information because they might be getting the case as they're walking into court, or the attorney who sees the child generally when they're coming into court. So that CASA volunteer is the one that has generally all the information about that child that they're giving to the judge. The judge can make the best recommendation possible.
All important information to share for this. In our final few moments, though, I'm hoping that you can speak to those people who might be out there in the community wanting to be able to give back and are looking maybe at CASA as a potential opportunity to help out the community. What would you say to them? Because I know that the need is great, but I would imagine the reward of doing this is also pretty great as well.
Absolutely. The amazing thing is that CASA volunteers are just everyday people from their community. And at the end of the day, what a child needs is not always that complicated. They need someone who fights for them, who will show up for them, and who will be consistent. And so if you care about children and families and you have the time to be a collaborative party on a case and advocate for a child, there's 10,000 children who need a CASA volunteer, and you really can make a difference with your time for the trajectory of this child's life.
Vicki, Adi, thank you so much for taking the time. I wish we had a little bit more to be able to speak about this, but we thank you so much for giving us this moment, and hopefully this will lead to some help for you all as well.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks again.